Europe. And basically, maybe let's try Nadal now and Borges and everything that
Mhm.
happened in Båstad. We were just talking about one very long match. There was one that was even longer in Båstad, which lasted, well, kind of depends how you want to count. The official clock, I think, was 3 hours for 59 minutes and 44 seconds. So it could be, 4 hours if you want to just round up to the higher number. But basically, that was, of course, the quarterfinal between Nadal and Navone. But yeah, Rafa Nadal almost did it. 2005, Båstad, he comes to defend his title, as he said, and he almost did it. It would have been a total sort of like record-breaking victory, longest gap between titles at on tour level, longest gap also between like specific titles, obviously, because no one did something no one has ever done. Even like 19 years between any title and
Mhm.
19 years between the same title would have been just as absurd. He doesn't get it in the end. I will actually start with a different question. When I was doing some, I don't remember what it was. Was it a watch along or something like that at the very beginning of this week? No, it was just like a spontaneous show with John when we were talking about ATP events, and he said something like Nadal gold medal contender for the Olympics, and he and all the guys in the chat were like very much behind that idea. And after this week, I don't know. I mean, we're getting some mixed signals. I think that you're going to find people who are going to say, yeah, this means that Nadal is surely a contender for the Olympics. And you're also going to find people like me who are going to be like, yeah, no, I mean, obviously he's not winning it.
Well, it's been good to see Rafa fighting this way this week, but for me, this week is not really giving me gold medal vibes. Also because it showed, how difficult it becomes physically then if you get engaged in these, amazing, unbelievable fights that you're going to have. Because of course the final has been a bit, underwhelming also for that point of view. And Borges has played a good match, has been very solid, he has been strong mentally in using his chances. But yeah, for sure, on the other side of the net, Nadal was, yeah, clearly, of course, tired by all what this week required him. So it's, uh, I mean, this week has given me, positive vibes from Rafa in terms of it's good to see him, out there fighting and playing with much heart and, playing some good points and still winning matches, still being very difficult to beat, even when he's not in the best form of his life and in his best days, he still can, beat a lot of guys also in the fight. But if I have to think about Paris and all the big guys that's going to be there, uh, I don't know, it becomes a bit, a bit difficult for me to see the gold medal. Let's say that probably the question can be, yeah, even if it's not that difference, another kind maybe of medal. I don't know if he can snatch a bronze, but I'm not having good feelings about that right now, having watched this week. I mean, his level needs to be higher if he wants to, to fly away from Paris with a singles medal at least. We don't have to forget that he's also going to play double with Alcaraz, and this is a pair that is a medal contender, because I think if they both play well, they can beat a lot of pairs in the draw. So yeah, but if I have to focus about the singles, it's always difficult to, of course, write Rafa down, and we've seen all these fights, and also his record, as they have mentioned on the Philippe Chatrier and on clay in general and in Paris especially. But yeah, it's difficult for me right now to imagine him winning the gold medal, if I have to be honest.
Yeah, we will see, but for me this was not really anything that's
Mm.
spectacular from either. I mean, obviously, I think there was some overreaction to this Zverev match at Roland Garros, which was really good. Like, really, against most players in the draw, Nadal wins on the day. but you kind of have to go from there, from like one good match to 5 or 6 in a row, and that could be an issue. Like, if of course Navone is actually one of the, let's say, 30, 40 best players in the world on clay at least. But if you go after that match, if it's not Ajdukovic in the semis, Nadal probably isn't winning that. Borges after these 2 matches was already, way too much. Even if Nuno, like, was
Yeah.
still playing his first final, there was a possibility that just like Ajdukovic, he was gonna choke a little bit, but he never did. Like, the edge was just too high. So yeah, I'm not really sure. Sort of that's a real possibility at the moment. He won't be in my top 5 contenders. Will he be in my top 10 contenders? Maybe. I would have to think about it. But yeah, certainly that's for me. The signals sort of are still positive in terms of Rafa's ability to continue playing and sort of his chances to yeah, just even after the Olympics, keep going towards next year's Roland Garros, for example, towards next year's clay season. That is looking very likely right now. But yeah, I'm not gonna say that I believe in him winning a singles medal at the Olympics right now. I don't really. But well, we're gonna see how that goes. I actually said that, and I also put out this poll on Twitter this week, sort of to ask if he has a better shot in singles or doubles. It was overwhelmingly towards the doubles, which I do agree with as well. I think it's a lot more random, and yeah, even two pretty sort of like unexpected singles players, they can definitely produce something there, since a lot of the pairs will actually be kind of out of practice together.
Mhm.
But yeah, Matthew Root chose Båstad instead of Gstad. Was that a good choice? Probably not, given what we saw in Båstad. But in hindsight, it's easy to talk about it, I suppose. Gstad, the conditions are better for him. Yeah, I would agree with that. But Båstad is so close to home. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't criticize that decision too much. I think in the
No.
long run, it doesn't really matter which 250 he appeared at, especially if you're rude. If you're like, uh, this is a horrible example, because I was saying at the beginning of the week that Tirante, like, why is he playing Båstad, right? And then he actually makes the semis. But given his prowess at altitude, I was thinking Stad, Kitzbühel, yeah, this is where he should be headed. Virtanen maybe always a better choice for this, because yeah, why is he playing Båstad instead of Stad? That doesn't make any sense. But with Ruud, like, yeah, it probably doesn't matter that much actually.
Yeah.
Which 250 he appears at. Even if he loses round 2 here to Thiago Monteiro, it's not a big deal at all. And yeah, Nuno Borges. Someone was asking about a medal. I think Sean. Yeah, I don't think so. But of course, it's nice for Nuno to kind of make a few fresh steps, sort of like break new ground in a few ways this week. And of course, beating Rafa on clay will always be like a special achievement.
Yeah.
I'm not wishing that on Nuno. Like, I'm hoping that's not what we are sort of when he retires. I'm hoping that's not what everyone brings up, that he beat Rafa on clay. I'm hoping he's gonna have a lot more. But that's definitely something that like will be mentioned about him, for many years to come. That he beat Rafa on clay, just because of how special that is, and also just the fifth player I think to beat Nadal in a clay final, right? And two weird
Yeah.
names there with Horacio Zeballos and Nuno Borges by that.
Yeah, because 4 of the 8 are Djokovic, 2 Federer. So yeah, it's the fifth. And I mean, yeah, I mean,
Djokovic,
he
Federer,
it's
and who? Because I'm
Murray,
losing some. Oh, Murray, yeah, yeah. Oh,
Murray,
totally
because
forgot
Murray,
clay race happened. I
yeah, was
totally forgot
Madrid.
clay race happened. Yeah, yeah, the final in Madrid. Yeah.
And yeah, just to say about Borges, it's a good price because he's been improving a lot and steadily throughout this past seasons and in his career. So um, even if in terms of how good of a level he had to bring in the final, maybe it was, of course it's not the same thing that beating Rafa on clay usually, especially in that final, considering the circumstances. Also physically, it probably would have happened, I don't know, in round 1 or 2. Even the quarterfinal would have been different in terms of, but of course different would have been also all the circumstances of the match. And but yeah, very, very good story of a player who, has gone, of course, a lot under the radar because of obvious reasons, considering, the big media and big tournaments. But yeah, he's been making a lot of progress. And in the end, he just proved to be, too good for the opposition he faced, especially, in the quarter, in the semis, and also in the final, unfortunately, for who has that idea of Nadal. And, and so yeah, very well deserved one, also for all the path that he had, coming into also this tournament, and winning it after, um, being more and more, a stronger presence on the tour, considering his level, being improving a lot since the last, especially couple of years. And so yeah, I would say that it's a great moment now. You also don't have maybe that big pressure anymore, having to win your first title. So why not trying to see if he's able to find some other good weeks on the main tour. And right now also best ranking, top 30 in the race. So if he keeps going well, he can end the year in a good position, which can be of course good in many ways. Also thinking about his next steps, next tournaments, and next season. So yeah, I would say it's of course a very, very big deal. Couldn't have happened in better fashion, because even if Nadal and the circumstances we have mentioned, you still get to win your first title beating Nadal, and it's a good thing, I think, for everybody, regardless of of Rafa's level in the day and in the week and his conditions. So yeah, I would say first of all, a memory will take away, for the rest of his life. And yeah, hopefully he's going to to build up something. I don't know how much more, but some other good weeks. And yeah, let's see.
Yeah, only the second Portuguese ATP Tour champion after
Mm.
João Sousa, of course. Me and John were at that retirement ceremony a couple of months ago. And Snehil, I have